Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be talking to you guys about how I've set up my mini bullet journal for 2020. So I'm currently using 3 different bullet journals, an A4, an A5 and an A6 dingbats bullet journal. So this A6 bullet journal will sort of be used as a day-to-day rolling list of tasks or a brain dump. I didn't want to be carrying around the A4 or the A5 every day, so this is the one that I'll keep with me all the time. It'll fit in most bags that I would ever be carrying around, and it's quite small, so it's convenient for that, and it has a little pen loop, so it's pretty handy. Basically what I'm going to be using this one for is as sort of a brain dump, so that when I'm in work and I'm working on a particular task and something else springs to mind, I can just write that down as a bullet point instead of having to sort of go off and do that thing while I'm trying to do work. So this should help me to be more productive during my research. The A5 journal is being used as my personal bullet journal, and that I keep at home, and it's gonna hold, my general day-to-day stuff. And you can see how that's set up in my bullet journal 2020 setup that I've published. So if you want to check that out, I'll have that linked below. So you can see how that will work, and I should have my January 2020 setup for that one in a couple of days so that you can see how it's going to work in my personal bullet journal. So this will just contain any tasks that I need to remember on a given day, as well as anything that comes to mind when I'm in work or when I'm going to and from work or anything like that. If there's anything that springs to mind that I want to track or keep note of or take note of. So this bullet journal can be a little bit less pressurized because it doesn't really matter if it's perfect. It's more of a brain dump journal to be able to get out all those thoughts, because I don't really like the idea of having a brain dump in my A4 or A5 bullet journal. So this is sort of acting as a brain dump. And then the A4 bullet journal, that is going to be my PhD research bullet journal, and it's going to stay in work so that I don't have to bring it to and from work every day. I'll probably just take it home like once a month if I want to set up the next month, and that's going to contain all of my research stuff. So this is the A6, so this is the smallest one, and it's from the wildlife collection of dingbats. So it's this kind of dark forest green color, and it's got a imprint of a deer on the front, and I got all 3 of them in the same design. So when I open it up, you can see the name tag part, and it just says a little bit about dingbats here and their mission. And then this is what I just had, a very simple cover page for 2020. And on the back here, I intend to write some goals that I want to be aware of. This is quite a small journal, so I reckon this will last me about the first quarter of the year. So I'll probably just put in my quarterly goals here that I want to be keeping in mind for the day-to-day for 2020, for the first couple months at least. And then the first couple of spreads are just a couple of lists that I know I'm going to want to keep track of. So when I'm out and about and I hear about different books or anything like that I'd like to check out, so I'm going to be keeping track of all of those on these first couple spreads. So I've got books to read, movies to watch, things to try, TV shows to watch, restaurants to try, and bars to try. So this bullet journal is going to be used for keeping track of different things like that when I'm out and about, and anything like that I'd like to maybe add to my personal bullet journal, I can do that as well. And basically this is going to be quite a minimal bullet journal because I don't really want to be traveling around with a ton of different supplies. So for all of these lists, I just use a black gel pen, and the same when you'll see when I go on to my weekly spreads. That's just used with a black gel pen as well. And then there is some colour used for some of the more setup spreads, but that'll be something I'll be doing once a month maybe. So on a general day-to-day basis, I'll just be using a black gel pen, and that will allow me to travel around with less, and it will just be in here. So in a sense, it will be quite a minimalist bullet journal, which I think is useful for this sort of brain dump type of journal. So then we're moving on to my yearly overview. So this will just be where I can keep track of future events that are a bit further in the future, so I have 2 pages for this. But ones that I have found out during the day that I don't have time to put in my personal bullet journal or anything like that. So this is where I'll keep track of those, and then possibly migrate them into my personal or PhD research journal if I need to. And then this is my monthly setup for January. So January is the month of doors, and I thought that's pretty cool because January 2020 is like an open door, opening a new door to whatever you want. So I did like this little kind of Dutch door spread. And on the back we have the calendar, so It's quite a small calendar. It's only really going to be used for if I've found out about any events during my day that I want to keep track of that I don't have time to put in my personal or research bullet journal. And then a notes section as well, pretty generous notes section, so I should be able to keep track of as many things as I need in here. And then we move on to the first sort of weekly spread. So this is just the day of the week and the date, and it's a rolling bullet journal, so it can go on as long as I need it to, and it will be kind of as long as I need for a given day. So I can keep track of any tasks or events or anything that kind of springs to mind. The general idea is that when I'm doing my work, I don't want to be sort of sidetracked with all of the things going on in my head. So if something pops into my head, like another idea for something I want to look into in my research, or just something I need to do that day, then I can just pop it up in here and then come back to it after I've finished my section of work. And that way I'll be able to be more productive, because I won't be, going off into tangents during my work day and doing different things that I shouldn't be doing. I'll just be following along with my normal research and then being able to keep track of side tasks or things I need to come back to later in the day in here. And as well, this will be a good place to keep track of anything that I want to do, any lists, any grocery lists, stuff that I can just have in a convenient small sort of notebook. I think this will be really good for that. I can keep a week or however long it will be on these kind of pages, but then any other page can then be another list of something I'd like to track until I perhaps want to move it into my personal bullet journal. Well, I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope it was helpful. If you liked it, please give it a thumbs up. And then the A4 bullet journal, if you want to check out how I'm setting up, I'll have that up for you in a couple of days. So I recommend that you would subscribe and hit the notification bell so that you know when that video is up. It's going to be very useful for anybody else that's doing any form of research or doing a PhD, or even for any college student or school student who likes to keep track of things. It'll be pretty useful for that. It's nice to have a dedicated space just for all of your college or research. Or if you're in college or doing research, you might find some spreads helpful that you would like to include in your general bullet journal if you don't want to have a dedicated journal just for that. Do definitely check that video out and subscribe so that you know when that's up. If you have any requests for things you'd like to see in the future, let me know in the comments below. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell, and I'll see you guys in the next video.